Hi guys, and welcome back to Fairy Tale Thoughts, episode 9. It's been 2 months since we last did a podcast, and well, we thought we'd do a nice little short one. There's a reason why we haven't been making the podcast as such. It's not really because we haven't been able to. We've had some spare time here and there. It's just that at the moment, Fairy Tale's been in kind of this little slump that it hasn't managed to get itself out of ever since
the war started.
This whole arc in general.
I was gonna say like 500, where like it was a complete shit show, but yeah, you're kind of right. The arc hasn't been that good.
No, sorry.
There's just something about
hero.
wars. There's just something about wars in shonens that don't work as well as you'd think that they would. Because I'm getting Vietnam flashbacks of everyone complaining about the last arc of Naruto, which was a war that spanned like 4 years and that had like 5 times as many characters. And it was pretty evenly paced until the end, where it was just like, okay, where the fuck is everybody? Why is this person here? Why is this person showing up here? There's no spatial understanding going on here.
That's if that's the word you're gonna use, then that's exactly the problem Hero's having.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to know where the fuck all of his characters are. I would say towards the start of the arc, he was very good with it, because he even showed a map at the one of the chapters, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Where it shows like where all the different squads are, and it shows like little faces and whatnot, and like who's where, who's been defeated. I was like, oh, that's really cool, keeping us up to date. Ever since the whole Universe 1 thing, that's been thrown out the window, because supposedly the whole geography of Fiore has been changed, and it seems that even Hero doesn't know what the geography looks like now.
He wrote himself into a corner with that one.
So, for example, the last time we saw Laxus before the last recent few chapters, he was practically knocked out from fighting the Historia of Hades. He was laying there on the floor. So then he comes back
with a fucking mohawk.
With so his hair changes. That's something. Laxus comes back with a haircut, and I think we see his face when like Zara speaks to the guild people and says everyone needs to come back right now and help Mavis, but then you don't see him at all until Makarov is dead.
Yeah.
You think
spoilers,
Which was
Makarov died
just a chapter ago.
Yep.
You would think that Hero would show us where he has been. Also, so he's out of the picture. Where's Sting?
Yeah. Where the fuck is Sting?
We don't know where Sting is.
We know where Rogue and Minerva are.
All these lost puppies. They're all lost.
We don't know where Sting is for the life of anyone.
Mermaid Heel just randomly showed up out of nowhere. Where's Blue Pegasus?
Were they even in it?
They were, because
they were on the stakes, weren't they? They were on the stakes.
Everyone was in this war.
Are they still on the stakes?
No, they got freed by
they got
Gaziel and
free.
everyone.
Yeah,
they got freed by Gaziel and everyone. But then since Universe 1, I don't think so the thing is, unless there's a member of Fairy Tale with them, they wouldn't know where to go. So, ever since Universe 1 happened, we haven't seen Sting. We haven't seen any members of Blue Pegasus. So unless Sting is arriving with an army behind him, that would be a pretty cool moment. Him arriving with more guild members and maybe the 4 kings of Ishgar. That would be pretty cool, because if you remember, one of them has a fucking guild mark on their arm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they're
true.
not dead.
He probably heard Zara.
Yeah, so Warred knows where they are. I'm still, because they've been gone for, I don't know, 7 months.
Oh, wow.
They've been, like, knocked the fuck out by God's Arena for a long time now. You'd think they'd be back by now? I guess not.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing. Where's Acnologia?
Oh, he's swimming.
He's just swimming, you know.
He's having a dip in the pool.
He's in the
It's
guild
fine
pool.
if we don't know where Acnologia is, because that was the whole reason why Irene did the magic, to get him as far away from
that's
Xerath
fine.
as
I
possible.
don't mind
That's
him
fine.
showing up as a surprise and just, like, putting another fucking hole through someone's, like, sternum. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that'll be what he does when he
Preferably
returns.
August, please.
Yeah.
No.
The problem is characters
someone
are
else
showing up out of nowhere, and it's not even like a dramatic entry. It's more like, oh, we've been here fighting the whole time.
Yeah, you
just
see, like,
didn't see
scars on
us.
them and stuff like that. It's, like, scuffling and whatnot. Because when you see Laxus, you see scuffles and stuff on them. I'm like, so wait, you've been here fighting the whole time and we haven't fucking seen you? What? Like, when Gildatz came back, you see the guild members behind him, who he's making a path for to go forward.
Yep. Although it's funny that when Gildart showed up, he doesn't have a mark on him, which means you know he hasn't been doing anything since before he got into the battlefield.
Well, no, because when he showed up at the battle, that was at the start of the battle, weren't it? So that was where, like, they were right at the front of the queue. Gildat shows up and clears a path for them.
Oh, no, I'm talking about before, guess going back to what we talked about before, we had no idea where he was before Universe 1
Oh, yeah,
happened.
no, he was, like, he got himself some new clothes, got himself, like, a slick... Basically, he was pulling, like, the Ned Stark look. He was looking pretty slick.
Yeah.
But, like... But even now, like, Gildat has, like, scratches and stuff on him. When we see him with Khan, I'm like, wait, what? No one should be able to touch you. Have you gone in a fight with a Spriggan? Have you already beaten up a Spriggan? Because I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, yeah,
Like...
and the two Spriggans that were brought back have already been defeated again.
Oh, we'll get to that. Jesus Christ. Like, I see Gildat, and I'm like, well, no one should be able to handle you. Oh, wait there. Where's like, we haven't seen God Serena since, right? Because God Serena, technically, he can't be defeated until...
Well, he should be gone because...
Although now he should be gone, but...
No, didn't Gildart's, like, actually take him out? He's like,
Well, we saw Gildat punch him. That was it. We didn't see him since. We didn't see him, like, knocked out or anything like that. But the thing is, the gap between God Serena getting hit by Gildat and Natsu, like, two-shotting Nineheart, we didn't get anything. Like, we don't know whether or not God Serena just laid there unconscious, which I guess we have to presume, or he got back up and fought Gildat more. But, you know, even if he did, we didn't see any of it. Like, I don't know. Hero, for the love of God, man, you've just handled this so poorly.
He's dug himself a hole. Really,
and he's just digging deeper and deeper. I've already voiced how many times it's like beating a fucking dead horse now. How, like, bad the Spriggans have been treated, and how much I love their designs. Like, why it's coming to mind now is because the other day, they released the cover. Have you seen?
With all the color.
For the next one, yeah. It's amazing.
They look really
They look
good.
so cool. They look so cool, but they're just little bitches, every single one of them. It's so bad. And, like, I even tweeted out, like, on This Week in Fairy Tail, the bitches who Fairy Tail have already bitched out are now bitching out the Spriggan 12. Because you see Rogue and Minerva just fucking up, like, War and Bradman. And I'm like, no, that's, like... When I saw that, I was like, alright, fuck, I fucking give up on the Spriggans.
Okay,
because...
in their defense, they did say that being brought back, you are nowhere near your full
but when
capacity.
the fight first started, Eric, they were crushing them. They were crushing them. And I was like, okay, so you've gone from being one of... Okay, wait there. Okay, technically, they're all on the same level as God Serena. You've gone from being the strongest mage in Ishgar to now being able to be beat by Rogue. Come on.
Oh my god.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on. It's literally Hero was just like, oh fuck, this is still going on.
There, it's done.
They're done. They've been
and
beat.
they're done.
Bam.
There we go.
and they're done. And now, like, I wouldn't be surprised now if, like, next chapter you see, like, Mira Jane just, like, have Jason Statham just fucking knocked out on the floor.
Yeah,
And
that's
she's
right.
in,
They're
like,
fighting.
True.
I completely
they're
forgot.
fighting. You wouldn't fucking know that, though, would you? No one would know that because Hero hasn't shown it for I don't know how fucking long. Like, how many months? 3-4 months. Like,
I think the problem is this is the dip. To be fair, like comparing it to before when the war started, how he would show like where everyone is, like you said, Taylor, he would map it out and he would show the individual battles, like Wendy and like Wendy's fight, that was its own thing. Jallal's fight, that was its own thing. He can't really do that now with everyone kind of in the same spot because everyone's fighting at the exact same time.
What you do there, you do what he did in the Taurus arc, and you switch between 2 or 3 fights in a chapter.
Each chapter, yeah.
And you give them 5, 6, 7 pages on each chapter.
Yep.
So you can have one fight which is going really quickly, and then in the middle of the chapter, you have a fight which is going really slow, and they're talking and whatnot, just to change up the direction of it. And then in the last fight of the chapter, you can have that be a fight where something big happens at the end of it, so you have a reason for your readers to tune in next week.
No, you're absolutely right. It feels like he's trying to, for lack of a better word, spearhead through all of this.
Why is he rushing?
I don't know why he's
he knows
rushing.
The anime is coming back sooner or later? But like,
maybe, but that's all the more reason.
Even then, this is where I think the anime can benefit. If they can somehow slow this down like they did with Tartarus, it wasn't really a good idea. But if they slow down the war arc, I think that'll be quite a good idea.
Or honestly, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, put filler in the war.
He said the F word. He said the F word.
Well, it depends what filler. If
no,
you mean,
like show more battles, show more where people are.
If you mean in canon filler, in terms of like
that would
you
be
extend the fights,
like show like they could animate the battles that weren't shown in the manga.
To be fair, we're blaming Hero here. He's even said before that his editor has cut out quite a bit of stuff. So you know the stuff we had in Tartarus with Laxus coming back. That got cut out the manga, that was out of his hands. So I'm thinking, is it really all Hero, or is his editor like telling him, "Hey, you cut this out"? Because for all we know, Laxus could have had another fight with more fodder and stuff like that that's being cut out. I don't know.
No, you're
like
right.
I'm blaming Hero, but it's only just hit me that this may be. I don't know. But
that's weird because ever since it was moved to a new magazine, it's basically that magazine's flagship series. You'd think, considering how the market is for Jump, they would want to stretch Fairy Tail out as long as possible. Especially since he's constantly said, this is it, this is the end, when this is all said and done. So, I don't know. Unless they did work out a deal with the animation studio, because more artists are doing that, but I see no reason why. Because it's already the end of the year. We thought that we were going to get some announcement with regards to the anime by this time, but we've gotten nothing.
The movie.
Or the movie. Or even the OVAs.
Well.
Weren't the OVAs supposed to come out this month?
No, they are. There's the Mavis one. I saw something recently.
Yeah, in a magazine.
The Mavis one's coming out this month, and the Christmas one is penciled in for like the 16th of December, I think.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, I can't fucking wait for that.
I'm gonna wait until after my finals are done for that.
So
wait, speaking of the Christmas episode, Jellal.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me
you didn't bang?
You didn't
oh my god.
Bang one of the hottest girls in this series.
And he can't even argue against it.
People will say that the side chapters are not canon. I don't know. Hero puts a lot of love and care into them. I'd like to think that they're canon myself. I've always been the kind of person that thinks side chapters are canon.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I like it. It's nice to think that they're part of the universe.
Likewise.
I don't know, man. Like,
ever since last chapter just came out, I've just been
to be
looking.
fair,
I've been looking at the characters in different lights. Like, ooh, like Max. I knew you had a thing for the broom, but I didn't think you'd go that far.
For fuck's sake!
No, but think about it. No, I've always been under the impression that side chapter takes place after the war, when everyone's fine and dandy. Because when is it snowed since the Because think about it, where could have, if this chapter truly is canon, this like side chapter, I'm doing air quotes here, canon, it wouldn't be able to fit anywhere. Like, we know where the movie
it would have to have been
fit.
before Tartaros.
But it can't, because Natsu has his bandage on his arm.
You're right.
It's afterwards. So in my head canon is, this is after the war, when everyone's fine and dandy. This is the Christmas.
Yeah, but did he have a scar on his cheek?
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Oh, wait, in the side chapter?
Yeah, in the side chapter.
Fuck.
I don't think he did.
Keep talking, I'm gonna look.
Okay, so I guess we'll address the thing that everyone's been addressing with this past chapter, and that is Larcade, and that's what we've been calling him
because we can't say Larcade Day, or whatever his name is. It's Larcade. Larcade Dragneel. Larcade,
who specializes in, I guess, pleasure magic?
It's like, I don't know, because part of it is like he can make his people feel agony, and then the other half of it is that they make them feel pleasure to the point of which they're so overwhelmed by it that they just die.
Well, I guess that's possible. It's weird how it's contextualized, because when we first saw him use his magic on like those two random guards before, my translation used the word, because I think I watched reading on a different site than you guys, it used the word release. And now obviously like there's that dirty part of my brain that I'm just going to shelve for a second, but release, I think, okay, are they like experiencing so much pleasure that when they quote unquote release, God, like their soul leaves their body, like they're releasing themselves from their body, because he's dressed like a Shaolin monk.
Yeah,
and
it's just he doesn't have a scar, so it literally can't be canon. It's impossible.
So it doesn't count. All right.
No.
So I guess I can't even really fault Jellal that much, in a way.
Could we say it's like it was Christmas when they were rebuilding the guild, or something like that? I don't know.
Maybe.
And Jellal was just waltzing on by.
Okay, well, to be fair,
how's the fairy tale guild doing these days?
To be fair, there was an undisclosed gap between when they built the guild, when they chose Urza
as the guild master.
No.
Because
I know what you mean. Hold on. There was an undisclosed gap between when they all arrive back at the guild. Natsu drags out the flag from the rubble, puts it down, saying, "We're gonna rebuild the guild." And when they start building the guild again, we don't know that gap. So if all of a sudden Magnolia was hit with a snowstorm and it was Christmas. No, but that makes no sense, because they give a date for when the actual Magic Games takes place.
Yeah, that's true. That's marked
in July. That's from July 1st to July 7th.
God.
So you can't have them have that and then from when they returned from the time skip, it wasn't another 6 months before they got back to the guild, I can tell you that. It was a lot shorter than that. It literally makes no sense. I don't know. And they say it's Christmas in the chapter. It's not just a snowy special. I don't know.
I guess it's just supposed to be a special that's not really canonical to anything.
So your point, Eric, of Jellal not banging Urza from this chapter, it's null and void.
It is null and void. I can still sit here disappointed because they are one of my favorite couples in the show, but fine. I can concede and I can concede defeat there. Okay, so
should we just address the elephant in the room about, like, you guys were touching on the magic, right?
Yeah, we were touching
Okay,
upon it.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to go into the what I was mentioning before, the translation.
I had a theory but you can go ahead, Eric, and say what you were gonna say, and I'll say after.
Okay, this will be quick. It's not exactly clear what Larry's magic does. Again, because there is a through line between feeling pleasure and feeling just happiness. One is a more specific version of happiness. And I bring this up because Taylor asked me if it was a translation issue when the chapter first came out. Because if it's not a translation issue, it opens a whole other can of worms, which I'm sure we'll get to in a second. But when I looked at the raws of the chapter, and forgive me, my kanji isn't great, but I can't recognize certain things. He uses the kanji for happiness when he's describing his magic. The thing about the Japanese language is each symbol represents a different vague general thing. It can be happiness, love, the sky, water, whatever. On their own, they can mean like solid things, but depending on how you contextualize them, it can mean completely different things. There's even a joke going that you can't really have a dictionary in Japan because the way the kanji is arranged will completely change the meaning for every word. But when I looked at it, it very much, you could read it as extreme happiness to the point of pleasure. It's more a matter of, it's not really, they never actually specify what kind of happiness. I think the translator just took it as quote-unquote pleasure because of how the characters reacted and what specifically they said, because all of that was accurate. Them feeling so good and their bodies heating up and stuff like that, which we all know what we could associate that with. So, yeah, that's, it's kind of ironic to have someone dressed as a monk make people feel arguable sexual pleasure to the point where they die.
Let's just get right into it. Assuming, because I've just got up a post, which is very good that I wanted to bring up, but let's just assume that it actually has to do with what everyone's thinking and everyone's giggling to themselves. If it does actually have to do with who has had sex in the series, then it makes no sense. Because you cannot tell me that Lucky isn't a virgin, but Kana is.
Yeah.
That is bullshit.
That is
bullshit. That makes no sense. Kana has talked about having so many boyfriends before, and
not even boyfriends. I remember, because I was re-looking at footage, she specifically says, man, don't you ever like miss that feeling of having a man?
Even though that was said in one of the side chapters. But
no, well, okay, yes, it was the side chapter when
the boy with the book, right?
Yeah, the boy with the book. That's the episode.
So, but I don't know, like this whole thing, and even her characters just never seem to be like that type.
She's like most sexually comfortable.
She says, like in chapter 2, like, this is why I don't date any of the guys in the guild when they're all fucking fighting. Like, it makes sense. It kind of doesn't make any sense. But she's like the most
sexually open of everybody. You guys even joke that she might be bi. So...
She pretty much is.
Yeah. Okay,
guaranteed,
it is.
It has to be.
It's pretty much all but been specifically stated. So,
and
she's related to the biggest perv in the guild.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, that also.
Banged every woman in fury, basically.
And then also, what about Mavis? Because the magic affected her, and as far as I know,
that's
she
impossible.
Kissed the dude.
Yeah,
she kissed the dude,
and I mean,
died, and then got frozen for I don't know, 80-something years.
I mean, all this talk
90?
with like Larcade being like the child of Zareth as well, like, and then everyone's like, oh, that's nasty. That's nasty, Zareth. How could you do that to Mavis? You know, but.
So the thing is, though, people say, how could you do that to Mavis?
Yeah.
we'll get into the chapter preview because it mentions Larry Caden's mother.
Yeah.
And a certain character pops up on the panel when it's talked about it, and we will get into that. But what I got here instead is, instead of what everyone's thinking, and people like Fornever World, whose videos I watch and I find quite entertaining on times, was like, the title was like 508% who was banged in Fairy Tail.
No, that pretty much has been the topic for the past week.
And it's not like as in like, oh, that's someone who's misconstrued about the topic. It's just like that's all that everyone's been talking about. So like, Hero, if this is your way of getting attention, please stop. Do it some other way, I beg of you. But what I got here is a Reddit post on the Fairy Tail Reddit. It's titled "Why This Chapter's Magic Might Have Absolutely Nothing to Do with Sex." It talks about how basically the original rule like talks about that taste, its taste, when referring to like the pleasure itself. What someone's thinking is that it's more to do with
committing an immoral act and taking pleasure
committing an immoral act and having pleasure from it, basically. So because it's more
what
of like
has
a
Mavis done?
So I'll get on to that because it's listed here for pretty much every character. So with Serrano, it affected her, right? Yukino's sister. She killed that celestial mage, right? Karen. She was an evil person. She was with the Irration Sace, whatever. She was an evil person. Yukino, she wasn't affected. Minerva was affected. Well, no, okay, but
get to that in a second. Go on.
Yeah, okay. So Larry Caden said that even if you're not affected, I can single you out and use the magic and make it affect you. So that's not like that. She has nothing to do with it. Minerva, she obviously tortured Lucy in the Grand Magic Games and was an evil bitch for the longest time. Rogue, well, him and Sting were the nicest of people before
they took
met.
pleasure in abusing people.
This may also have to do with something with his inner shadow, and they took pleasure in injuring people, hurting people, whatever. Obviously, the thing is, Olzak and Biska, it could be to do, literally, it could be
because they had sex to have a child.
Yeah, it could be that,
Biska
or it
very,
could also
like,
be,
you know, in her past, she was like Moulin Rouge, whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
so it talks about Moulin Rogue when she was back in her days, where she was a bitch. We saw her in, you know, the flashbacks and whatnot in the episodes. Makarov just very perverted. And with Max, it's funny because it's listed that like any kind of sexual interaction with an object is a sin. It's just...
his fucking broom. Aww.
So him and his broom. Wakaba's the same as Mako. Lackey, funny enough, has shown sadistic and masochistic tendencies.
Yeah,
because
of her wood stuff, isn't it?
Well,
she
it's
makes,
not just
like,
her wood stuff,
devices.
but
she makes like
when
torture devices
in her
out
room.
of wood.
Yes. No, and she has, like, when you go inside her room in one of the OVAs or one of the side chapters, you do see, like, all the,
like this medieval
like, the bondage stuff and whatever, So, that's in there. There we go. Romeo and Aska, obviously, it didn't affect them because they're pure children. Laxus, his arrogance led him to betray his guild, proving great pleasure and satisfaction from it. He was an evil cunt, basically, which he was. It understands why he works with Laxus. Warren, unaffected. Now with Mavis, this is the funny case is it's.
I just read the part about Kildarts. I'm sorry, Kildarts banged more women than stars in the sky.
I was looking forward to reading that, Eric.
I'm sorry. I have wandering. I've sinned. I have wandering eyes.
So, with Mavis, basically, it's committing a sin while taking pleasure from it. Now, the thing is, with her contradiction curse, the more she loves someone, they will be killed. So the thing is, when she had killed,
Makarov's
mother.
Yep.
When she killed her through her love for her, right? When she was holding her hand. Basically, that's committing a sin through she's killed her because she loved, so she took pleasure in loving her, but killed her because of that.
Because she loved her.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, so she committed a sin. She committed the sin of killing her, but she took pleasure in it because she loved her, basically.
Unknowingly, yeah.
Unknowingly.
And that's why it also kind of was affecting Zareth.
Exactly. Because the exact same thing has happened. Because we know there is this side of Zareth that does actually value life.
Yeah.
And the people around it. And his love for Natsu and whatnot. You know what I mean? So
convincing himself he doesn't.
Exactly. Or otherwise he just kills more people. Obviously Gildat, bang more women than stars in the sky. Kana just really hasn't seemed like she sinned at all, to be honest. She hasn't done anything evil and took pleasure from it. It works out. Cream saucier, cream saucier,
cream sauce,
crime saucier.
Wow.
Cream. That's their new name. So
Larcade
cream sauce. They were all just pretty much evil, right? Cream sauce. They were all evil people at one point. August. To be fair, people are saying that his magic is just far above anyone else's, because it's been proved in the series that, like, if you are that much stronger than someone, their magic won't affect you. You know, Brandish's magic doesn't affect someone who's stronger than her, if you know what I mean. And then with Gemini, Lucy can't steal someone's abilities who are stronger than her. Exactly. So I guess that may work with August. It would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised. Irene obviously is taking great pleasure in torturing people. Still, someone needs to get payback for what she did to Mira. That's all I can say. And then, last but not least, Zareth obviously is the same as Mavis. So honestly, I didn't like the idea of it having to do with sex. This makes a lot more sense. I like it quite a bit. It works.
I just hope they elaborate on it more.
I think they will.
Because there seemed to be this poeticness to the fact that Kagura is going to be the one to fight him.
Yeah, go on about that, Eric, because you said that she was fitting to take on.
It was fitting because looking at it from the perspective of sex or deriving pleasure, Kagura's a traditional samurai in the show, so she would have had to train herself to distance herself from pleasure, and she hates men, so
that's also true. Yeah.
It just seemed to fit when she showed up, like, oh, okay, that it makes sense you would be the one to fight. Plus you never really see her crack a smile, so it also goes in line with this theory that she never really experienced pleasure because she trained all her life to get revenge after Simon died.
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, you pointed out before how he was able to single out Yukino and somehow still affect her. So does that mean that there doesn't actually need to be a catalyst for his magic to affect somebody?
No, he could just single someone out. Obviously, he was like, okay, I'm going to cast a spell now. Anyone who's been affected by this. Oh, anyone who's done this will be affected by this. Da-da-da-da-da. And then, obviously, if he wants to, he even said himself, I could single someone out. Which he did with Yukino. He's like, oh, I'm going to single you out. Blah. Shoots, like, vines at her, or whatever the fuck. Light beams, whatever it was. Shoots it at her. And then, obviously, she was affected by the magic. And then, obviously, Kagura comes in to save the day. Whoop-de-doo. Mrs. Samurai with the big titties.
Fucking hell.
I love how you say that like it's a unique character trait only to her.
Oh. Well, yeah.
It's more unique to have a flat chest in Fairy Tail. I mean, even Levy is getting a little bit going on last
she
time we
does,
saw
actually.
her.
I'm impressed, man. Gashiel, good for you, jumping in at the right time. It's just when she's starting... I don't know what it was. Like, since when does, like, Levy have, like, the best hips in the series? Like, I don't know. Like, all of a sudden, like, she has, like, big thighs and, like, good hips and whatever. I don't know.
Well,
that's what I've just noticed.
If I could be...
Slight observation.
if I could be a horrible human being for a second, having sex does bring out more of those traits in both men and women.
Well,
women
Eric,
generate more estrogen and men generate more testosterone.
Well, Eric, the
Yes.
thing is, though,
Yes.
you don't know if they banged, though, yet.
Okay.
Come on.
Do you honestly think? Okay, this is more likely than the thing with Jellal and Urza. Think about it. Do you really think they didn't do anything working together for over a year?
I don't know. Like, Hero put the blanket thing, which people picked up on, and it's like, that may be his way of saying, hey, look, these are like, this is a kid's magazine, but like,
Yes.
look what they did. Just sneakily under the kids' noses. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. It would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, yeah.
Part of me kind of wish we cut to them during this whole pleasure thing. Because I feel like that would have thrown
I think there's
everyone
a
into
reason
a
why
frenzy.
he left out certain characters. Gray and Juvia for one as well, because they
Well,
did live together for 6 months.
but nothing happened.
But nothing happened. Maybe in Juvia's world.
Yeah. Actually, would Juvia have been affected?
Oh god, like her, like...
She was
Because of
evil
her
at one point.
fantasies.
Yeah. And her fantasies, yeah. Probably.
She gets
like,
pleasure from
technically
that
by
all
the
the time.
definition of the magic that we were talking about, yeah, she would have.
Natsu and Gray definitely wouldn't have been affected.
But it doesn't matter if you've been affected
Well,
or not
technically
anymore,
they
because it has
might
nothing to do
have.
with sex.
You know,
So,
They
Who?
fought each other. Gray and Natsu. Could you consider that sort of like betrayal of friendship? That's also almost as in.
But they didn't get pleasure from
they
it.
did it.
They were
No.
just angry.
They did it for
Yeah.
something though. They did it. Oh, it's hard to word it. Like they didn't do it for.
no, but
love
you need to
or-
take
I think it's
take
more like you
pleasure.
need to take
you need
pleasure
to be
in
happy
the
from doing
action.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether knowingly or unknowingly. I mean, sure, they've beaten the shit out of each other for fun.
But even Makarov said that, like, it's totally fine for you to fight, but just don't hold it as a grudge. Like, just make sure you make up afterwards. Speaking of which, guys, Makarov died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rest his soul.
I
We need to
called that
say-
shit how long ago?
God.
When we started the podcast a year ago, I think.
Yeah, like the minute the war started, like, okay, if anyone's gonna die, it's probably going to be him.
Yeah.
And
It
It's a-
happened.
it happened. It's a fine way for him to go out. It feels like, not that it didn't need to happen. I feel like they could have built up more to or foreshadowed more that this was how he was going to go out.
I think he could have gone out more than just defeating a bit of fodder.
Yeah.
And like,
least
I get
take
what
a
you mean.
Spriggan
Like,
with
the
him or
fodder was
something.
like, if he didn't take out the fodder probably would have killed everyone in Fairy Tail because they turned into berserkers.
Yes.
Yeah. that
And
was
they
just
did look
making it
quite
harder.
dangerous. They were like beating Urza at one point because there was just so many of them.
And Gildarts had a hard time as well, pushing them back.
Gildarts would have in the end, yeah. Maybe that's what Gildarts has his scratches for. He was fighting some of the berserkers. Who knows?
Maybe.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel that if we didn't have the 3 pseudo deaths before Makarov's, this would have meant a lot more.
Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe it's just we're kind of exhausted at this point.
You know,
So the
Eric, that
death
in the
has
back
lost
of
its
your
effect,
head,
almost.
Yeah.
I don't think he's coming back, but I know for a fact that both of you as well have this lingering thought in the back of your head that, what if he does though?
Yeah.
Okay.
What if he does
He
come back?
God.
Better
And that's
not
stop-
come
He
back.
He
And
really
that's
shouldn't.
stopping you from emotionally just letting go of the whole situation, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like fully embracing it. Whereas like I feel that we're still somewhat stepped back from it. When I imagine when the anime comes around, it will mean a lot.
Yeah.
Because
It'll
we
be a
will
lot
know
more
what
dramatic.
happens at the end of the war and whatnot, and we'll know that like, yeah, this is a legitimate death. This is pretty fucking sad. And you know, in the anime, they're gonna show flashbacks of him with the kids and everything when all
They're
They
gonna
the
did it
swell
with
the
a
kids.
heel.
music up.
God.
Yeah.
To fucking crank that music up. Oh boy, it's gonna be a
Do
fucking
do
tearjerker.
do 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 do
They'll make
do.
But
it
right
a big
now-
thing.
But right now, I couldn't give too much of a
No,
shit. I
really.
do, because I love Makarov, and he will be sorely missed. But I don't know. Those pseudo deaths, man, they really fucking pulled it down for me.
I give a shit in the sense that if they keep him dead when all this is said and done, then I'll cry for him.
Yeah.
For now, I'm not letting my guard down at all.
If anything, I felt more emotional about the
Gajiel?
No, Urza's reaction to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I felt more of emotion
more,
towards her rather than
I did for
the actual
Makarov.
death itself. It's more of the impact of it that made the emotions well up a little bit. But someone that I'm like really surprised that wasn't actually showing as much emotion, but because they're quite a strong character, I really wouldn't.
Was Laxus?
Yeah, Laxus. I mean,
no, he's gonna weep
No.
as soon as he's by himself.
He needed to be strong.
He's gonna
for
break
it's gonna
down.
be like the time when he left the guild and they all just they were putting their fingers up, you know.
And then he just walked away.
He full on sobbed and walked
crying,
away.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna
and
be
when you think
like
about
that.
it, he was the first person to come up to Urza and be like,
we can't do this now. We need to fight.
we need to fight. We need to keep going. No, he said it to Mavis. Then it's like, we still need a tactician or whatever it may have been.
Yeah, said it to Mavis.
Yeah, and
We still need
was
a
it one of
leader.
you guys who posted that thing where it was like Makarov told Laxus look after the first, and now he's actually looking after the first in his absence?
I didn't post that,
I
but I
didn't
know
either.
exactly what you mean.
Someone posted that on Twitter. I'll see if I can find it later. But yeah, it was like sort of this full circle thing. That's why I think Laxus is going to be the guild master when all this is said and done.
I think he will be as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go back to Urza. I think
Yeah.
the only reason it wasn't Laxus is because he wasn't fucking there when they all came back. I reckon it should be Laxus, yeah. Because I think he's a good fit.
It feels right after all
And
of
it
this.
feels right, yeah.
For him to... Because he's learned his lesson, he's grown, and he actually does...
And he's still an actual adult. Like, he's a strong adult. Whereas Urza, I'm not saying she's not a strong character, but you see,
She
like,
is
these
still kind of
tendencies.
young.
She's still growing up. You still see these, like, tendencies in her where you can tell, like, she's still just a teenager, which she is still. Or she's 20 now, but whatever.
Well, she's 20, and what's Laxus, like 25?
24, I think. Yeah, it's close to that. He's in his mid-20s now, so he's fine to take over the role of, like, Guildmaster.
Although I will say, I'm surprised how much I liked the fact that it was Makarov's sacrifice that kind of started Gray and Natsu waking up. And then it was like Urza that kind of put them to an end, because we brought this up before. She's always the one that made them stop fighting.
It would have been nice if it was actually like light shines, they look, they stop fighting, and they go to check. But that seems a bit too convenient, if you know what I mean. They had to have Urza come in there and break it up, which didn't she like repeat some of the words that like the master said or something with like
she
tears in
repeated
her
his
eyes? So
last
that's when
words.
they realized that something happened.
Well, it was more like, I'm debating on whether or not it'll probably be more obvious in the anime. It was either an old monologue that he'd already given them, just sort of playing in Urza's head, and then she repeats the last line when she stopped them, or literally Makarov was giving a final voiceover to everybody as his soul was leaving.
Well, they can do that. Things in
either
Fairy
way.
Tail have done that all the time, and that would be fine by me.
No,
I
I'm
wouldn't
fine
mind.
with either, but yeah, it is very much whether it was in the past or in the present, she carried on his words, and so you could argue it was ultimately Makarov that stopped them from fighting.
Yeah.
And
Which is
I like
nice.
that, because I think maybe we built up the fight between Gray and Natsu a bit too much. Like, it was gonna be this, friends or enemies. I think it was always sort of meant to be just this, almost like this misunderstood spat gone awry. It could have been done better, but...
No, you don't build it up like they did in Avatar, where like they had the first match and then they had the rematch. Yeah, I still believe that they will cross paths once more once they have finally gone over the edge.
Yeah.
I don't know how Gray's going to. I think Natsu's definitely going to, because for plot convenience's sake, he has to, because he has to take on Zeref and Acnologia. It's a freeway battle.
And we
but I
still
think
need to see his final, like, demon dragon form.
We'll only see that when
Exactly.
the book's like completely broken and up and gone. Like, the book needs
I
to
just
be
got I just
destroyed.
got no clue how like Gray's gonna be tipped over the edge now because Juvia's alive. Juvia's
He
with
has
him.
no reason to be angry.
He has
He
no-
like
he has no
fainted
reason
as
to be
soon as
angry.
as soon as he saw her. I thought that was quite cute.
Did he
I thought it was
actually
cute that
see
they
her? I
called-
thought he
Yeah,
passed
saw
out
He
right
saw
away.
her
And then they
and mumbled
passed out
his
together,
her
actually.
name and then passed out.
Okay, that's
And then
fine.
she ran
Oof.
over to help him and then just
Oh, you
laid
must have
down.
loved that, Frankie.
Oh,
because you have
my
Lucy
heart.
and Natsu passing out
there was
together.
there was
and then you have Gray
Bruvia,
and
there was
Juvia passing.
Nalu. I could just live off those two panels because literally Lucy just like comes up behind Natsu and is like, "Oh, you really know
Frankie's
how to
life
make a
force
girl
for the rest of her
worry."
life consists of panels
Yep.
of manga.
Oh. And then Natsu just smiles like Lucy, and then he just faints, and it's just like, mwah! Love it, love it.
It's a shame though. I did want to see a full-on brawl between END. It may have to be in the end where like Natsu's beaten them and he doesn't know how to calm down, if you know what I mean. And Gray has to step in as like the good guy to calm. How we thought
That's
it would
what I'm
always be.
thinking. It'll
We
sort
thought
of
it'd always
like...
be like that though, didn't we? We thought it'd always be Gray's the good guy going to stop Natsu the bad guy.
Well,
Until obviously everything happened with Gray.
I think we looked at it more from the perspective of Gray would... I think it's more like we at first thought Gray would fight Natsu thinking Natsu was a bad guy. But what if Natsu just becomes a demon and it's like out of respect for his friend? He's like, okay, I'll be the one to...
Yes,
take
that's
you
what I'm
down.
thinking it'll be. He's like, alright, only I can do this. I have to
Right.
do this. Yeah. Because at that point, who else is going to stop END? Like, once Zeref and Acnologia is defeated. It'll be a thing where, like, it'll be the final battle's over, and it's like, well, how are we going to stop him now? And then Gray steps in. He's like, well, it has to be me. I'm the only one that can do it. Yeah. That would be nice. I would like that. And then Gray just, like, pummels, like, a half-beaten... Because I don't think he'd be able to beat END by himself, but I think he would be able to once END's finished battling Zeref and Acnologia in this freeway battle that they keep hyping up.
Yeah, I
He'll
don't
be able
think
to take him down.
he wouldn't be able to beat Natsu in his final form because he
No.
was incomplete and they were pretty even, and Gray
Yeah.
was going at full power. So unless he gets another power up, which
Supposedly
I doubt,
that's not like Gray's full thing though, because he can transform into a demon supposedly. Because that's like his
Really?
father could. Yeah, his father had a demon form, right? What we see there is like a half demon form. So I believe like Natsu was barely there. He had like his hands and stuff.
when did Silver have a demon form?
Wasn't it Deliora?
He always had a demon form. No.
was that-
Kyoka said... No, okay, it's at the start of the Tower Attack, Kyoka said, oh, Silver, you're in your human form again.
Oh.
So he had a
Okay.
demon form, he just never used it.
Okay, that might be interesting.
I always
If
thought
Gray
she
does
was
have a-
implying Deliora, but
Yeah.
But that was never a thing, because he wasn't actually Deliora. I just thought that was a lie that he came up on the spot to try and trick Gray. I don't
no,
think he's...
it was a lie. He wasn't Deliora.
Yeah, he was... Yeah, there was like
I mean,
no way
even
he
at the
could actually
end,
be...
he's like, don't lie to me, you're not really Deliora, you're really my father, aren't you? He's like, ah,
And
you got
yeah,
me."
and even if he was Daliora, he couldn't be it couldn't even be the body of, like, we saw the body, like, the body of
The body
Daliora
is
disintegrate.
dead, yeah.
It would have been the soul of Daliora, wouldn't have it, inside Silver?
Unless it like corrupted his human body, but how can you corrupt a corpse?
No, exactly. So that's why it was so like, I'd still like to think that, like,
Gray has
I
a
don't
final
know.
form that we
I'm
haven't
just
seen yet.
salty that, like, the battle between Gray and Natsu was that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, I'm very curious to know how all of this is going to be animated, because I hope it's not like it's been done before where they just straight up animate everything. If they want filler, if they want to stretch things out, please, do with it as you will.
I asked them to do it with the Grand Magic Games. They didn't. They did it with Taurus though, mind. They did it. I think they changed it to like, I think it was like 1.5 chapter. No, it was like 2.5 chapters per episode. They ended up doing in the end, which I'm like, okay, good job, you did it. Actually, no, it was 1.5. That because less. Yeah.
Yeah, they did about 1.5 chapters per episode.
Yeah, they did 1.5 chapters per episode. I was like, okay, good job. You're You're saving half a chapter. It's fine. It's good. Good job. So yeah, we talked about how disappointing the manga is. We're just going to briefly go over what's going to happen in next chapter, because there's only like a few notes have come out. I have the panels up here. It's literally just a nice little spread of Kagura on the front. For some reason, like, you see these pictures, right? Like, her shirt's just like, yeah, it's like, okay, it's pretty lewd hero.
Why is she not
and obviously
wearing
we
a
cut to
bra?
like, do
question.
any of the girls wear
Who
bras?
wears bras in this fucking show?
Juvia does, but I don't think anyone else does besides Juvia.
She's the
I'm
only
not sure.
one who has common decency in the guild.
Exactly,
Jesus.
because she's a
Actually-
respectable woman.
I
with
remember
indecent
in one of the
thoughts.
side things, it was the episode where they went to the water park.
Kana
Didn't
went-
Kana show up at the
She
water
went
park
up
in
in a bra,
lingerie.
yeah. That is true.
It's like,
Well, that was
wait,
just,
you don't even
I
wear
think that was
a
just a
bra.
gag, though, doesn't it? Because she wears swimsuit stuff with
Yeah.
shorts over the top.
But
and then
she
she
owns underwear,
changes
so
into
that's
lingerie
something.
to go into a pool. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know.
And then they even made the joke, which like is quite funny, where it's like, oh my god, look at us, like she's just wearing what she usually wears. Like the whole thing of like bikinis are fine, but lingerie isn't. Like that whole weird thing.
It's kind of that whole social, like, society thing. It's like, oh, women can't walk outside in their underwear, even though it's really no different than if they wore swimsuits.
Exactly. It's
I don't want to
stupid
get into
me.
that conversation.
We're not getting into that conversation now. Anyway, so basically, we see just like August looking over Jellal, stamping his fucking head into the floor as he's beating all of cream sauce.
Now I have a question. There's that panel of Urza. Is that Urza, or is that Irene?
It's Urza because of the earring.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, 'cause
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, the
remember her
earring,
wearing
yeah.
that sweater.
No, she hasn't. But like Jellal, August reveals something about Urza to Jellal because he's shocked about it. He definitely is. Then obviously we go down stuff with Yukino and Larcade, them just fighting. She gets knocked. Oh, she gets cut. She does. She gets cut real deep.
Yeah, but
and
it's
ends
on
up
the
falling
back?
to the
separate
floor.
page. It's, I want to say either the back or the shoulder.
It is in the back.
It looks like
Yeah,
the
it's
back.
it's
to
yeah.
me.
And then it just ends with Yukino getting attacked. I feel like she's gonna, not Yukino, Kagura's gonna stand up by the end of the chapter. Or it'll
Yeah,
cut to somebody
she'll
else.
probably fight like once more. So and if I go to so we got like it was a quite interesting. I'm just more interested to hear like the conversation between August and Jellal, because honestly that's probably one of the most things I'm disappointed with in the entire arc, is that wasn't explored. Like the whole August and I knew it was going to be a completely one-sided fight, but just even them having conversations, like any more of Jellal and August I can get, I'll take it, because they're really interesting characters.
Yeah. I would love to know how that fucking fight even started.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And then there's the stuff with Irene, but we should probably save that for later on, because we're almost at the hour mark.
Yeah.
We'll go. Yeah, we will. We're not gonna. It's simple. Like Irene says that they're the same people. Nothing has been elaborated yet. We can't really go off anything of that. But like, we don't know if they're like. She says that as in like they share the same blood, or they're actually the same person, or they're twins.
People were saying it as if like Urza was one of, you know, like she had those two like
the
lackeys,
two blades. Yeah.
And they were actually swords.
I hope not.
No, that's why
I'd be
I
really
thought all this
pissed.
time it was like, is that future Urza? Because she still seems to have this affinity with weapons.
Yeah.
And actually, it would be kind of poetic, because think about it. What if she is from a future where, like, kind of like before, where her friends are dead, and the only comfort she can get is giving her own weapons personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
Sort of
that'd be
voice.
quite an
Poetic
interesting
justice.
dynamic
Yeah.
for a character. I don't think Hero's that clever though, and I think he's already done like the whole future thing enough where it didn't really work last time,
No.
where there was
Yeah.
inconsistencies and it ended up being a whole fucking mess.
Yeah,
But,
I
yeah.
hope I'm not right, to be
Yeah.
honest.
So from what I see, between the conversation with Jellal and August, it's literally Jellal just saying we were crushed, totally crushed. August knows that he was once a follower of Zeref in terms of like what he did with the Tower of Heaven and whatnot. He's like, why did you choose to not go against him? Jellal said, basically it's a clashing of ideals where August thinks the following Zeref is the way of the light, and Jellal thinks his way is following the way of the light. It's basically them clashing, thinking
well, it's more like it's actually funny because Jellal has always referred to Urza as his light.
Yeah.
So it's more a matter of they both believe in who they're following. It's just a matter of what represents to that person is different.
Yeah. So what August said as well was, so it's the quote. So you're saying that light is good and darkness is evil? You're wrong. His Highness had an only son. His child was born from the great power of light. So basically, he said that Larcade is born from light. Not too sure.
Clone, artificial creature.
Pretty,
because sun can mean a lot of things in anime.
And then there's new info where like Larcade was born, but no one loved him, so he feels no emotion. In brackets, it's kind of hard to explain, so it goes more in depth to that. The source of Larry Caden's power is jealousy of his uncle Natsu, that Zeref loves him so much. Quite an interesting take on his character. I think that can be delved in.
Smiling all the time.
Exactly, I think that can delve in to like him having a crazy side.
If
maybe
anything,
that could be quite.
You could say
that.
With Larry Caden's like magic, or how I like to think of it, like he had like so much love within him to give to his dad and everything, that he kept it inside him. That's like he's giving his love to other people, and it gives them pleasure. Oh boy.
Or it might explain why he's a monk, because he's practiced self-discipline so that he doesn't let his anger and jealousy reach the surface.
Yeah.
I'd also like something like that. Yeah. So then August just kicks Jellal for goodbye and goes away. so he doesn't even kill them. I guess we have seen August be a lot more humane. The only reason he went to kill Mira before was because Irene was wasting his time. And he said, hurry along.
Like the kind of guy that goes out of his way to kill people.
But like the whole thing he did with Mira seems contradictory. I know he was like, come on, Irene, we need to go. She's like, I'm just fussing with her. He goes, bang, alright, she's dead. Come on, let's go. But before that, he's shown emotion for people. Like, he sees the Spriggan as his comrades and he values life. So I understand why he let them live. Like, it's fine, whatever. At the end, August says that probably only Larcade's mother is able to feed her son, and while he's saying it, Mavis is shown in the background. So people saying when the color page came out of Larcade on the cover, people were like, oh my god, it's totally Mavis' son. Supposedly it is now. We don't know how. Clearly not through the conventional means. So and then for the final lines, like, only one thing can fight against the spear. Something about heaven. A heart that knows love. Next chapter, Natsu's heart. So the chapter of the title of next chapter is Natsu's heart. I'm assuming that still has to do with Larry Caden and like the relationship between the three.
Or Frankie. Love.
We.
A chapter around Natsu.
He wakes up and he confesses to Lucy.
Love can take down Larry Caden. What if this was that development?
Please, no. He's already took down so many
was
of
talking
them.
about.
Oh my god, it's all been worth it.
The love between Natsu and Lucy will defeat the evil nephew.
Oh my god. Larry Cage are going down.
Nah, ain't happening. Nah, man.
It's probably not gonna happen.
The one
He
magic
said he wants to progress
love,
it.
After all.
He said he wants to be. He said that he wants them to be more than friends, less than lovers. So like, it's.
Oh, okay. I kind of respect that. But oh.
I know, but
No.
yeah.
No.
But the way he means that, he means that in like recent developments. He doesn't mean like, oh, they'll still like that forever. He's like, oh yeah, I've understood that they haven't been shown together. I think I'm gonna start making them more than friends but less than lovers. So
I thought that was always kind of the thing.
And
We've kind of been wanting them to just
No,
be
I'm
lovers
a big shipper, and I will always say that like, yeah, Natsu and Lucy haven't had anything in terms of like development, in terms of a relationship. They really haven't, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Really think about it.
A lot of that comes down to Natsu.
Well, what? Lucy's hugged him from behind a few times to stop him doing
Yeah,
stupid
and
shit.
she's blushed sometimes in front of him. It's more like I would sooner believe Lucy falling for Natsu than I would ever believe Natsu falling for Lucy. Because
I don't know, man. Lucy doesn't seem like the type that she'd confess. I believe it'd be like Natsu
no, I
has this
don't
fucking
think she would
epiphany.
confess.
But it's not as if she's not considered it before.
True.
She may have.
Okay, think about it this way. If Ash Ketchum can get a fucking girlfriend now,
Oh, fuck
I
off
think
with that
anything is
bullshit.
possible.
I don't care about what Ash Ketchum does. Speaking about other things than Fairy Tail, guys, if you're finding this disappointing, don't worry. There's other better things you can go and read. We've been discussing this before we did the podcast. Recently, I've caught up with Nanatsu no Taizai. So we're all ahead on the manga, and I will say it's a hell of a lot more interesting than Fairy Tail is at the moment. So don't be surprised if you see a podcast about that pop up. Maybe some other mangas, who knows? We made that.
In fact,
do that
leave
in
some
the future.
suggestions down in the comments, maybe.
Fucking go for it. If it's good enough of a manga, we may end up catching up. No, we won't. But we may end up catching up and then making a podcast about it. So, hey.
You read like 7 Deadly Sins in 2 days. You could catch up.
Cause 7 Deadly Sins is so fucking good, man. That moment we're like asking, like fucking, oh.
We must
Oh,
save
podcast.
it. Oh.
Anyway,
Yeah, so it's pretty much guaranteed we'll make at least like one podcast
It's an
on the
excuse
7
to play
Deadly
Perfect
Sins.
Time, you know.
And I'm gonna make sure that in the intro, when I have to create a new custom intro, it will have Perfect Time in there. Because fuck my life, Perfect Time is like makes you want to fight things when you listen to it.
like a real
yeah.
man.
Like a real fuck Elfman. Like a real man. So is there anything that you guys, final words before we finish off right here? Alright, fantastic. That's been episode 9 of Fairy Tail Thoughts, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Peace.
Lecture the perfect time.